very good evening to you. I'm Sophie Kane with you this Sunday, June 24th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, there is good news for entrepreneurs. Government has announced it's looking for ways to reduce the hassle that they have in finding finance on easy terms. The word of this is coming from the Minister of Entrepreneurship, Dwight Sutherland. He says the micro-enterprise sector has been earmarked by government as a leading driver of growth and recovery of Barbados' economy. Sharika Griffith has more.
Our administration will not be satisfied until we get more funding to persons who really need it.
This assurance from Minister of Small Business, Entrepreneurship and Commerce, Dwight Sutherland, who says oftentimes the ideas, passion and drive of many entrepreneurs are hindered by processes and procedures that are insensitive to the entrepreneurial mindset. Speaking during a Mix and Mingle event for clients of Fund Access, the minister made an appeal to credit unions, commercial banks and other financial companies.
I will want to say that there is enough space within the local market for niches to be carved out and for there to be cooperation and collaboration as we work to create a resurgence of entrepreneurship at this critical juncture. It is all a matter of appetite for risk, and just as the people of Barbados have placed their trust in us, we will be placing our trust in them with the introduction of trust loans soon to be implemented.
Minister Sutherland also committed to keeping the channels of communication open between his ministry and stakeholders in the business community.
Let me advise you, the entrepreneurs here tonight, to seize every opportunity to contribute to the national conversation about the role you or your business can play in rebuilding Barbados. I intend for my ministry to be evidence and target based and to invest heavily in information system and communication modalities to not only improve the way we do business, but to enhance how we communicate with each other and the officials whose mission is to serve the commercial sector's needs.
The Mix and Mingle session gave clients of Fund Access an opportunity to network with each other. The night included 2-minute face-to-face sessions where clients got a chance to promote their respective businesses. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Well, more than 5,000 fishing jobs are being affected by the influx of Sargassum seaweed around the island. The disclosure is coming from President of the Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations, Vernell Nichols. Ms. Nichols was speaking during a church service to mark the start of Fisherfolk Week 2018. She says given the fragility of the industry, fisherfolk cannot afford to be caught napping when disaster strikes. In the meanwhile, Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer Joyce Leslie is encouraging the fisherfolk to engage in good practices.
We want you to observe the dress code in the market. We want you to conduct yourselves in an orderly manner. Observe the cleaning and sanitation requirements. Respect yourselves and the customers because you're celebrating them this week. And to be able to celebrate them this week, you have to be dealing with them in a nice manner throughout the year. We want you to sell good quality and wholesome fish, you know, and don't sell kingfish for dolphin fish and things like that.
And as we told you, the influx of Sargassum seaweed is causing a major problem for those fisherfolk, and the president of the Fisherfolk Organization spoke on the topic at that same service.
Fishery workers and their livelihoods have been impacted due to the presence of the seaweed. Some of the challenges experienced are loss of gear, lower catches in some species of fish, especially the flying fish, and loss of income. The flying fish is especially the species that employs the majority of the over 5,000 persons operating in the fishing industry.
In other news, free meals and an open bar in economy class are just some of the sweets that Barbadians can expect when Copa Airlines starts flying here from Panama next month. Word of this from the airline's commercial manager, Camille Hackett, who revealed more details on the new twice-weekly service, which begins on the 17th of July.
Our flight will depart from Panama City on Tuesdays and Fridays at 9:30 a.m., arriving to Bridgetown at 2 p.m. local time. Returning the same days, departing from Bridgetown at 3 p.m. and arriving to Panama City at 5:30 p.m. The route will be operated by a Boeing 737-800 with capacity of 16 passengers in executive class and 138 passengers in the main cabin.
Ms. Zackett says the airline's strategically planned schedules will assure passengers quick and uninterrupted connections between Barbados and the 75 other destinations which Copa currently serves.
Will be receiving 2 boarding passes in Barbados. Your bags will be tagged straight to your final destination. There'll be no clearing of customs and immigration in Panama. I'm not hearing the oohs and ahs as yet. I bet I could get it. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'm sure I'm going to get the oohs and ahs now. And all of this with free meals on board and an open bar in economy.
We'll have more news just after the break. A suggestion that solutions exist to many of the country's pressing issues, including the ongoing South Coast sewage crisis. It's coming from former Barbados Water Authority General Manager Dr. John Mwanza. He spoke during a recent Barbados Town Planning Society seminar, and he argued that a lack of implementation often hampers national progress.
It is not because of the change of government. It is coincidental in that the solutions that are being implemented have not changed from what we started with under the previous government. But of course, when you get a push, especially in the back, you will move a little bit faster. And if they give you a little bit of money to help expedite the implementation of your solutions, you will implement what you need to do.
The local Horticultural Society is committed to educating Barbadians and the art of gardening. That was the theme this weekend as the association held its garden fair. Barbadians were treated to a number of floral exhibits as well as art, jewelry and clothing. Jerry Ishmael, one of the fair's producers, says people were also exposed to the art of horticulture.
What sort of plants work well that go into the sun? What sort of plants look well that go into the shade? What's the best soil you can make? So we did that. Now the Ministry of Agriculture is working with us to talk about pesticides and diseases and stuff. How do you treat them?
And Mr. Ishmael says while the Horticultural Society is trying to attract more youth, anyone who's interested must first have a love for gardening.
If you have a love of plants and a love of flowers, and if you look at your home in its totality, it's not just what's in your living room or extending to your master suite in your bedroom, but it's what goes outside. And then if you're interested in seeing how things change, how colors work, how this works, and more than anything else, it is fantastic exercise.
Regional news now, and Bartica is on the path to become the first green city in Guyana, and the township is expected to be a model for the rest of the Caribbean. We get more in this report.
Plans are moving ahead to ensure that the dream of creating the country's model green town in Bartica are realized. The township is soon to benefit from a multi-million-dollar alternative energy project that is expected to be a major turning point in the development of the community. But residents of Cuyuni-Mazaruni Region 7, and specifically those living in Bartica, need to take ownership of government's Transitioning to National Energy Security (TNES) Bartica as a Model Green Town project. This is according to the head of the Office of Climate Change, Janelle Christian.
That this project is a project specifically for Bartica. Even though you'll be working with national institutions like the OCC, the Guyana Energy Agency, and several others, it is for the residents here to embrace, to inform it, and also to provide leadership when required to take it forward. because everything that will be done has to be sustained by the municipality and its people.
Ms. Christian addressing key stakeholders and residents of Bartica at the second part of the TNES project in Region 7 on Wednesday. She says that the only way such a project can be successful and reap the desired results is if the community plays its role in the developmental process.
Further afield now, and snake bites kill more than 100,000 people every year. The World Health Organization says reducing the number of fatalities is a global health priority. Many victims are in Nigeria, where doctors are struggling to save lives.
This man was bitten by a snake 3 days ago, but is only now arriving at hospital for treatment 200 kilometers away. A medical crisis is unfolding in Nigeria, where distances between medical facilities can prove the difference between life and death, and medicines are either too expensive for many or are in short supply. Before the doctor here can finish attending to the patient, he's called to another victim who's just been brought in.
We are receiving 8 patients daily now. And as time goes on, as we're entering the rainy season properly, we'll be having more because people are all on the farm. And also because of sleeping outside.
Thousands of people are bitten by snakes in Nigeria every year, but health experts can't be sure exactly how many die because of poor access in rural areas.
We'll have the sports news just after the break.